Guys, what's going on? Summer Del Piso back once again with yet another video. Today, we're not going to try to tackle some aspect of the everything, right? Of the eternity and related to semen retention. What we're gonna do today instead is we're gonna do something that we haven't done in the channel in a while, which is analyze a piece of text. We have been doing the book of Revelation, yes, but I realize that I am very, very Judeo-Christian centric on the channel. And that is only because that I know that the best, right? I've read the Old and the New Testament. Today, we're going to touch up on a text that I've also read, not in its complete entirety, or else it probably would have taken the majority of my life to do so. And I still would probably get through a fraction of the text. But we're gonna tackle one bit of this thing. So we're gonna tackle Buddhism today. The most specific part, the Tripitaka, the most specific bit is the Book of Discipline. So this out of 3 or 4 or 3 or 5. It's basically a story detailing Buddha's lives. Like it's almost like Aesop's fables. Every chapter he goes through, he has a little bit of an event where he sort of tackles some sort of event with people, with villagers and whatnot.
Could you help a veteran with change?
I'm sorry, man. So we're gonna tackle the Tripitaka today. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna tackle the Book of Discipline. I think the Tripitaka has millions of books within its hold, within its library. We're only gonna tackle one chapter of one book of 5 parts of the entirety of one part of the entirety of the thing. So let's get into it, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. What we're gonna talk about today, right? So the chapter is like one of the first chapters of the Book of Discipline. It's called Defeat. I don't know what this is in relation to because I skimmed through it before I decided to read it to you guys. But it's definitely very, very important. And it's gonna have a lot to talk about in regards to spirituality. And of course, as we do on this channel, we're gonna relate it to semen retention because that is the most important. So let's go on. Let's begin. At one time, the Enlightened One, the Lord, was staying at Varanja. So by the way, guys, there's a lot of lore with this book that I don't want to communicate with you guys incorrectly, but I'm going to try my best to give some analysis of the text. As best as I can, based on what I know. Near Naleru's Nimba tree with a great company of 500 monks. So the Enlightened One, we know that it's Buddha. Buddha, of course, he had like 23 or 26 incarnations. This is just one of them. This one is named Gautama. There's another one that Hermanus, a very, very popular author from the past, who done Steppenwolf, Glassbead Game, both of which I've read, very, very good books. He also wrote, his most popular work was Siddhartha. And Siddhartha is the name of the Buddha, the one that began as a prince and decided to discard his life as a prince in order to learn more about the world, because a sheltered life can teach nothing. You can learn nothing from having your every whim catered to. This is Gautama Siddhartha. That's the Buddha that's surrounded by 500 monks in this tale right here. A Brahmin, which is someone that is controlled, an ascetic sort of Varanja heard, "Verily, good sir, the recluse Gautama, son of the Sakyans, having gone forth from the Sakyan clan, is staying at the Varanja near Naleru's Nimba tree with a great company of 500 monks. The highest praise has gone forth concerning the Lord Gautama. He is indeed Lord, he perfected one, fully enlightened, endowed with knowledge and conduct, welfarer, knower of the worlds, unrivaled trainer of men to be tamed, teacher of the devas and mankind, the enlightened one, the Lord." That's a very, very crazy a grandiloquent title for someone as lowly as Gautama, seemingly lowly as Gautama. So I'm guessing this Brahmin guy sort of perceived this individual and knows his legacy sort of spoke before he spoke, right? We know that this guy is not only an ascended being, it said here he's a knower of worlds. We know in Buddhism there are myriad worlds, and of course we know them as dimensions, and they have specific things to do with our varying states of mind, varying states of mental vibration. He's basically alluding to his knowledge. The Brahmin is alluding to the Buddha's knowledge of all of those worlds and tamer of men. Right? A person that understands the natural inclinations and reflexes of the emotional states, varying emotional states that men go through, being in this one of the many, many worlds. He is a person that knows how to tame those things, teach men to sort of transcend Very powerful individual. Let's keep going. Having brought to fulfillment his own powers of realization, he makes known this world together with devas, including the maras. Devas, of course, are a type of god, right? A type of a powerful being. And the maras, right, is like sort of aspects of Mara, which is the evil one. That is like almost like as if it's like Satan to Jesus. Mara, as we know, is the person that tempted Buddha under the tree when he was meditating. And he used these women, of course, to try to tempt Buddha. But Buddha wasn't having it. He sort of shirked them off. And then that's how he reached enlightenment. Creatures together with recluses and Brahmins, together with devas and men. He teaches Dharma, lovely at the beginning, lovely at the middle, and lovely at the end. So Dharma is of course it sounds like karma, right? But it's the whole idea of spreading goodwill and good joy to everyone in order to take them out of the samsara, which keeps us from reincarnating here in this plane, right? And having us ascend to one of the 62 worlds that Buddhism alludes to. Very, very interesting stuff. He explains with the spirit and the letter the Brahma life, completely fulfilled and wholly pure. Good indeed it were to see perfected men like that. Of course, we know in order to be like Buddha, it's very, very easy, but people make it very, very difficult. We get affected by the various forms of Mara. As I described, Mara is like the evil aspect, right, that manifests itself in various things of the world, the microcosm of the events that occur in this world. And of course, the different temptresses, that is all filtered through that is all caused, the catalyst of which is Mara. And Buddha transcended over all of that. It's very, very easy to do so. It's very, very easy to do these things. All you have to do is just sort of stay still. And of course, he teaches these things in the various books and chapters in the Tripitaka. As we know, followers of the channel, that semen retention is one of the ways in order to spread dharma, which is the opposite of accumulating bad karma, keeping you in samsara, which is the eternal rebirth and reincarnation in this lowly, inconsiderate plane. Let's keep going. Then the Brahman of Viranja came up to the Lord, Buddha of course, and having come up, he exchanged friendly greetings with the Lord, and having exchanged friendly greetings, he sat down to one side. So it seems like he's preparing to have some sort of discourse with this powerful, ascended, enlightened one. Let's see what he's going to say. As he was sitting to one side, the Brahman of Viranja spoke thus to the Lord. I have heard good, Gautama, that the recluse Gautama does not greet Brahmins who are worn, old, stricken in years, who have lived their span and are at the close of their life, nor does he stand up or ask them to sit down. Likewise, good Gautama, that the revered Gautama, let's just say his name once, right? Why do we have to say his name a million times? Does not greet Brahmins who are worn, old, stricken in years, who have lived their span and are at the close of their life, nor does he greet them or stand up or ask them to sit down. Now this, good Gautama, this is not respectful. So this guy, what kind of greeting is that? We learn, right, the wonderful description from this Brahmin about the enlightened Gautama, the enlightened Buddha, that, you know, he is the knower of worlds, he is the enlightened of individuals, he is the teacher of men, and then he's just coming in saying, I know you don't respect people like me that are old, and you don't ask them to sit down, nor do you give respect. Why not just say hello? Your legacy speaks for you. How are you, Buddha? Right? Let's not accuse him of doing things when he has done nothing, right? Let's just continue. Let's see what kind of nonsense this guy says. So this is Buddha now. Brahmin, I do not see him in the world of devas, including the maras, including the brahmas, including recluses and brahmins, of creatures including devas and mankind, whom I should greet or rise up for, or to whom I should offer a seat. That's deep. So of course his legacy does speak before him. It is true he does not necessarily greet individuals in a very, very kind and amicable way if they are sort of old but that's not necessarily the case here. I think that Buddha doesn't see someone that is not necessarily his equal, but someone that is trying to ascend to become his equal, right? So why does he need to sort of greet him? Why does he need to show respect? I think that's what he's saying, because it's almost like the biblical quote. Of course, we're going to bring it Judeo-Christian again, casting pearls before swine. He knows that this individual has come towards him in a very, very aggressive, indirect, snidey manner. So why should he give him his full attention and and respect. I disagree, of course. I think that you should respect all souls, but Buddha has his own reasoning and he has his own level of enlightenment. So we're going to trust his decision on that. For a Brahmin, whom a Tathagata should greet or rise up for or offer a seat to, his head would split asunder. So he's saying here, right, an individual that is truly enlightened, someone that he needs to give respect to, if he was in the presence of such a being, he would just completely be mind-boggled, because he has not met an individual in this world that has that title, that is even trying to ascend to that point. Even in the midst of the 500 monks that he's talking to, right? That he's teaching, I can imagine. Let's keep going. The revered Gautama is without the quality of taste, he said. Of course, the Brahmin accusing him of yet another negative thing. There is indeed, Brahmin, a way in which one speaking truly of me could say, the recluse Gautama is without the quality of taste. For Brahmin, taste for forms, taste for sounds, taste for sense, taste for savors, taste for tangible objects, these have been destroyed by the Tathagata. I'm guessing, I don't know what the Tathagata means. I'm guessing that that's some sort of way that teaches the individual about the true nature of things in the world, and sort of alluding to that middle path that Buddha likes to preach, which is the one where you are neither feeling complete euphoria or delight, or feeling completely sorrowful and sad or angry. It's sort of walking the middle path. And when you do that, the things of the world that you have no choice but to go through, like tasting food, eating food, you don't necessarily care about the sensual aspects of it because it is only a necessity, right? So I guess this is what the Brahmin is trying to tell Gautama that he already knows. Interesting stuff. This Brahmin is a way in which one speaking truly of me could say, the recluse Gautama is without the quality of taste. But surely you did not mean that. He said, this guy, man, like these guys coming, he sounds like a Pharisee, right? He, like the ones that were in the New Testament that came up to Jesus Christ and was trying to sort of claim, oh, if you can perform miracles, why don't you do that? Or like the guy in the cross when when Jesus was getting crucified, it was the other two criminals that were crucified with him. Why don't you just have a conversation with the enlightened solitary fellow and try to learn something from him instead of accusing him of being something that he really isn't? Like, I don't understand these people. In the past, they were doubters. And in this present time, they are doubters. And in the future, trust me, there are going to be more people that doubt this. When this sort of time is sort of codified and chronicled as a new religion. Man, all right, let's keep going. Let's see what our friend Buddha has to say about this. The revered Gautama is without enjoyment, right? Of course, like alluding to what I said in the previous description, that Buddha takes the middle path. The whole idea of Buddhism, right, just to communicate to you guys, is the art of taking the middle path. You do not feel pleasure or the pleasure of the world thereof. You reject it because you understand that it is almost like a pendulum. When you feel pleasure, you will ultimately feel pain in order to identify and categorize the level of that pleasure, and vice versa with pain, categorizing pain in comparison to the pleasure that you felt. He is saying by walking the straight and narrow, the middle path, you feel nothing. You understand everything. And it is an interesting path to some degree. Of course, there's a lot to be learned about the ways of Buddha, the methods, the teaching methods, the lessons to be learned from Buddhism. But I say, honestly, as a person on semen retention that's been on the practice for a very long time, it is always good to try to feel your environment. Naturally, we are here, right? I'm not going to say we're stuck here. We were preordained to be in this reality, right? So naturally, there's going to be pleasure. Naturally, there's going to be pain. Feel those two absolutes, but do not let it touch your soul. It's very easy. Learn these experiences. It's just natural. Have it make imprints on your aura, right? So you can guide yourself towards whatever your life is that you want. You have to learn the things of the world. There's no way that one could triumph over the world without having to understand and directly experience the things of the world, which is powerful, which is manageable, right? Which is manageable through semen retention. Be celibate. Then you will experience this world in all of its splendor and you will not feel sorrow. Only, of course, the sorrow of being alone, right? Because the people of the world naturally are not, the majority of them are not on semen retention. Let's go. There is indeed, Brahman, a way in which one speaking truly of me could say the recluse Gautama is without enjoyment. For Brahman, he's taught. Now this is the Gautama, this Buddha talking to the guy. It's accusing him of everything. I don't get it. For Brahman, enjoyments of forms, enjoyments of sounds, enjoyments of sense, enjoyments of savors, enjoyments of tangible objects, right? These have been destroyed by the Tathagata. So now I was correct. The deduction of what that word means, I think I might be correct. It is the way that a Buddha or a Brahmin sort of takes upon himself in order to understand and deal with the physical nature of this world. Women, right? Men, if you are a woman, right? But of course, the path of the Buddha is only for men, right? There's no way women could really understand this, which is why there was no such thing as a female incarnation of Buddha. But it's just that way, the Tathagata is that lesson, it's that lifestyle to learn how to deal with this world in the most effective and efficient manner in order to aim after ascension without retaining the most amount of physical damage, which it keeps you into a pit of experience of samsara in this world, not completely where you are doing sin for the entirety of your life, you are living you're enjoying the will of the senses, and then you get reincarnated in this place to do it again, and you're stuck and you don't actually ascend and learn anything. Rather, you obtain the way of Tathagata, the middle path somewhat, and then you are not being affected, you are not being sort of tantalized by the methods of sensualism and the god of materialism that runs this world, of course, alongside with Mara and his various agents. We're going to talk a little bit about this in another video, you guys, but let's keep going because there's a lot to cover in this chapter alone. The Tripitaka is a lot. It's very heavily detailed. Let's keep going. So these have all the senses that he was talking about. These have been destroyed by the Tathagata, cut off at the root like a palm tree, right? They are so utterly done away with that they are not able to come into future existence. So this is like Jesus Christ, like Krishna, like Shiva. All these people are they're very understanding of the world because they've ascended to a certain level, following a certain way of life that is present in most religions, in all religions. Like I always say on the channel, semen retention, be celibate, do not touch the things of this world, rather watch them. Watch the people experience these sensual pleasures and smile, be entertained, live vicariously through them, but you are not them. This is what these individuals were doing. This is why they've ascended. This guy, Buddha, is talking about destroying the pleasures that you feel, those very, very ephemeral, temporary pleasures that you feel from the physical reality by cutting it off at the source. What is the source of it? It is ultimately in the brain, right? In the brain, that is where, that's the filter of the entirety of the experience felt in the physical reality. To triumph over the whims and the will of the brain, if you are on semen retention, if you are staying celibate, if you are staying completely focused in your energy, there is no way that you will be plagued by the maras of the mind. It is almost as if you are conducting a sort of self-Tathagata, right, without even being Buddhist. And then you will not be touched by the various agents and the various faculties and objects of Mara. Let's keep going. This Brahman is a way in which one speaking truly of me could say the recluse Gautama is without enjoyment. But surely you did not mean that. He's playing with him. The Brahman is saying all these things. Oh, there's no way, Buddha enjoys the sense objects of the world. There's no way Buddha does this. But the Buddha is playing with him because he knows himself. He knows how he is. He's not listening to some silly guy that's trying to discredit him for whatever reason or another. So the Brahman comes back, he says, the revered Gautama professes the doctrine of non-action. That is another aspect of being Buddhist, right? The idea of not necessarily being aggressive in towards taking action within the things of your life, because there is a complete visceral understanding of the ways of the objective reality. The objective reality, even if you can desire to teleport from here to Oregon, right? I'm taking this from a song, but you can have the desire to, okay, something a bit more realistic, go on that roller coaster and have fun on the roller coaster, be entertained by it. But if it is not written in the book of the objective reality, then there is no way that you're going to make it to that roller coaster. The Buddha understands this. This is the way of Buddhism. This is the understanding that objective reality moves in a certain direction. in whatever, and that thing could change at any moment. By flowing with it, you are getting what you need to get done, naturally so, if you are removing the obstacles in your life. And to remove the obstacles from preventing you from flowing down this river of the objective reality, you have to go through a service called the Tathagata, right? The service of destroying all obstacles and walking a path unaffected by the unaffected by the sense pleasures of the physical reality. This is what he says. Buddha to the Brahmin: there is indeed, Brahmin, a way in which one speaking truly of me could say, the recluse Gautama professes the doctrine of non-action. So he's like, you're right? This is part of my way. For I, Brahmin, teach the non-doing of offenses of body, speech, and thought. I teach the non-doing of manifold evil and wrong states. We're gonna talk a lot about this. This indeed, Brahmin, is a way in which one speaking truly of me could say, the recluse Gautama professes the doctrine of non-action. But surely you did not mean that. So I always say on this goddamn channel, to make a good decision, to make the decision to even start semen retention, right? It is a momentary decision that you make at a point in time. Of course, I also add to that saying that life is a perpetual choosing of a choice or another choice or another choice, right? Buddha, of course, Buddhism breaks the whole metaphysical reality and the various states thereof down to its microcosmic bit, right? The idea is you are supposed to completely be pure in thought, or not pure necessarily, but clear of thought. You are not trying to deal damage. You are not trying to not necessarily support in a false way. And when you are doing that, you are clear in thought, meaning that you cannot naturally bring evil into this world. There will be no despair. This is what he's trying to teach individuals. We all know how to offend the body. In this modern world, individuals love their alcohol, they love their drugs, they love their cigarettes, they love their sex. This is what they love in this world, and these are all offensive to the body because it conditions the body and the brain, well, the brain, which is part of the body, to identify with these things and have meaning through the expression of these physical things, whether it be smoking and feeling euphoria, having sex and feeling that release and feeling euphoria and bliss. These are all part of the low vibrational nature of this world. It means nothing. It brings no definition, only sorrow and attachment, which is what the Tathagata breaks and which is what Buddha preaches. We're going to stop right here because we went over our time a little bit. Don't let this world get you down, guys. Of course, we're going to break apart this chapter of the Tripitaka, Buddha's story, because this is very, very interesting. We have Jesus Christ, right? He is an individual that was all about self-restraint, but also trying to teach individuals about the ways to get into the kingdom of heaven and to be written in that book of life in order to go out no more, which is written in Revelation. We have Buddha now who is talking about trying to get to the states of nirvana, trying to ascend through the ways of the Tathagata. What is that? I've talked about it multiple times, myriad times. It is to completely eschew and reject the physical sense pleasures of this world. By doing that and by continuing on that path, there is nothing that can hurt you. There's nothing that can touch you. That is just what they're teaching. Ultimately, what we can glean from this is that the ways to ascension is to eschew this world, because naturally it is an anchor. It is meant to bring you down. You can't fly in these bodies because they are of a heavy vibration. We are stuck on a specific level of existence. Let us keep trying to ascend, gentlemen. Let us not trying to fall into the various agents of Mara all around this world, whether it be in the forms of individuals, whether it be in the behaviors of the individuals in your space. And let us get higher, let us ascend. And stay radiant, my friends. I'll see you guys in the next video. Woo!